Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Financial Fluency. Today, I am here with Yasemin Inal from Amplify Your Dreams and the Thriving Entrepreneur podcast. Yasemin is a high-performance coach who has been certified as a high-performance coach, as opposed to someone who just says, I'm a high-performance coach, which I would love to find out more about all of these things. Yasemin, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen. I'm so excited to be here.
So before we hit record, we were actually comparing notes on our planners and programs that we've done and what it means to be high performance or not high performance. So why don't we start there with what is high performance? And one of the reasons I want to ask is because I remember a couple of years ago, I was getting Ramit Sethi's newsletter, who I love Ramit, but he kept talking about talking to his audience as high performers. And I remember having this feeling of I'm a mom working from home. I'm not some guy who's climbing a corporate ladder trying to get my dream job. Is this even talking to me? And then starting to realize, oh wait, I think he's talking to me as a high performance to help me raise myself to expectations and give me tips on how to become it. Mm-hmm. But it's taken me a long time to be what does high performance mean in my world? So I would love to know what high performance means in your world and how you help people reach it.
I love it. I'm so glad you're asking this question because, when I say the word high performance, I know a lot of people cringe. A lot of people who may feel like they're not high performers, they may feel like, I'm not one, so maybe I shouldn't watch this video or maybe I shouldn't read this blog post, right? So that's why I love to, really demystify it for my audience as well because, there are a lot of people out there who talk about high performance with their own definition. And I think that's beautiful, right? So I would never say no, that's wrong or that one is not right. No, I think it's very important for everyone to identify what it means for them. So the way I describe high performance in my own personal words, it would be becoming your best version, becoming the person that you were created to become, knowing that you have the potential and taking action to fulfill that potential, right? Because most people, they know they have something, but most people who don't get somewhere in life, they just don't work on it because they feel well, who am I to do this? I have so many other things going on in my life. My plate is already full, so I can't possibly take on more things, more projects. In the certified high performance coaching world, the definition would be reaching and maintaining higher levels of clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. So those are the 5 main pillars. So as long as you're doing your best, reaching that, even if you're crawling, right? It's not really to the swift, but to the steady, right? The steady wins the race. That's really what high performance is about, reaching and maintaining. Now, does it mean every day is a high performing day in my world? Absolutely not. I have 3 kids, life happens. Yesterday, my daughter delayed me. She was just in a really, really bad mood. She just woke up cranky, and when she woke up cranky, it took her forever to settle down. It took her forever. I wanted to make sure that I was giving her the time that she needed. So I wasn't rushing her out the door because I take her to a babysitter. And so I made sure that I bonded with her. Thankfully, yesterday, I didn't really have anything scheduled in the morning hours. I was able to do that with her. And so we were a little bit late. Usually I drop her off by 9 a.m. I dropped her off by 10 a.m. So she delayed me. It's okay. Life happens. But the thing is, doing your best to maintain those, the high levels in those areas. That's really the key. Consistency.
I don't know if you can hear right now, but I'm having a snow day with kids today, and I can hear one of my kids jumping on a bed upstairs up above my office. So yeah, life totally happens. And you know what? That's something I love about the entrepreneurial space that I found online with a lot of other women and a lot of other mothers. Mm-hmm. You and I have scheduled to be on each other's podcasts a couple of times. Yeah. And I think we both had kid-related crises of some sort that we had to cancel and reschedule for. And I love it that we do not take offense. We do not, I feel like in the corporate world, there was always this sort of mommy penalty where if you cancel, you cancel an important meeting because your child's sick and you can't get care, that's a big tick against you.
Whereas corporate world, and I guess I would say academia too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
I remember like when I was pregnant with my second one, I was teaching at a high school, super competitive. And I was, like literally this pregnant, like, I was about to deliver like 37 weeks pregnant or so. And I was trying to take off. Like it was the week of exams. And finally, like they found a substitute teacher and everything. And I was like, okay, I need to take off. And my supervisor, she was like, okay, when are you going to be back? I was like, I haven't even taken off yet. Let me go have the baby and relax. Like it was so stressful. Now when I think back, I'm like, God, I don't know how I did that. It was crazy. Yeah, you're right.
But I feel like a lot of the women who I come into contact with, at least in this online entrepreneurial female world, have been through those things and understand and are working from home because of some of those things. So it's kind of nice to be able to cancel for kids stuff and have them be like, oh my God, I so understand. Yeah. Okay. We'll reschedule next week. It's fine. Isn't that a relief?
Exactly. It is. It is such a relief.
And I think there is something to wanting to be a high performing mom as well as a high performing
entrepreneur
or whatever. Yeah. Whatever your role whatever, is that you have. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think that is actually the most important part. For me, when someone says like, what do you love most about high performance, or what have you gained, having studied it, having immersed yourself in it for so long? Like people ask me this question and I'm like, the most important thing to me is that it pushes me to become a better mom, a high performing mom. And that doesn't mean just successful in her career, right? Like I could care less about that if I have failed my kids, because to me, that is the big rock. I mean, obviously my career is so important. I love what I do. I wake up with enthusiasm every single morning. But the fact that I'm raising 3 young people, like 3 people who are going to become the adults of tomorrow, and to make sure that we have a better world, right? So I want to do my duty as a mother to make sure that I'm raising them to become high performers as well, right? So I have to walk the walk. I have to walk the talk and, be able to role model it to them and not just claim to be a high performance coach, So in my personal life, it's more important to me.
So going through the high performance certification, what is that like? What does it mean to be certified as a high performance coach?
Yeah, I'm glad you're asking that, because it's not just like an online program where you just learn something and then boom, you're certified. So I got certified through Brendan Burchard, and I have worked with him extensively before that. Like I've studied with him, took all his online courses, went to literally like every seminar he put out there, and loved his energy, loved what he was giving us. And having gone through High Performance Academy, which is an online course, I decided, when he opened up certification, I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I really love this stuff. I had studied it, with Tony Robbins, like he calls it peak performance, but it's something that obviously called my name. Like every time I would, personal growth in general, personal development has been a huge part of my life since I was about 17 years old. And so for me, that was like, oh, okay, this is it. Like I would love to teach this stuff, and I would love to teach it in a very, not just a program that I put together kind of over a weekend, which I never really put something together over a weekend. It takes more time. It takes longer. But I wanted something that has been tried and tested and crafted in such a way and improved over the years. And so when he announced this and he said, this is something that has been, put to test over the last 2 decades, I was like, okay, this is great. And it's something that Oprah's team has gone through. I mean, like the material that I teach to my clients, Oprah's team has gone through the same exact work, the same exact thing.
Can you give us like an overview, an idea of what you teach?
So basically it's a 12-week program, right? This is high performance coaching. It's a 12-week coaching program. The way I design it with my clients is I do it over a period of 6 months. So that way we have a week in between, kind of like a break where it's a check-in week, right? So we do 1 week of actual heavy, hardcore coaching. And then the next week is more of a check-in, where I'll do a check-in session with a client. And then the week after. So it goes on and on like that for 6 months, where they have full access to me. So whether this is one-on-one, I do one-on-one coaching, and I also do group coaching, which is really fun. I'm running actually right now something called the High Performing Entrepreneur Mastermind. And it is absolutely like, I'm having such a ball with them. It is so empowering. I feel like I'm in a mastermind with them, and I am. I really see them as my peers, and I am honored to lead the group. So it's really amazing when when a lot of like-minded people come together. But so that's really how it works. Like 12 weeks of coaching, done over 6 months, and we go through the main 5 pillars: the clarity, the energy, courage, productivity, influence. And then we go into the mastery of those areas. So like physiology mastery, psychology mastery. So high performance is super tight to mindset, because you cannot be a high performer if your mindset is just not at the peak levels where you believe in yourself and you're willing to take action on the things that scare the heck out of you, you know? So, so it's a lot of, first 6 weeks we usually spend on the introduction to those pillars. And then the final 6 weeks are the time that we spend on mastering those areas. And then we wrap it up with commitment to high performance, where I go over pretty much everything we've done. And we talk about them to recommit, whether it's, it doesn't necessarily mean they have to continue on being coached by me, which I'm glad to say that a lot of my clients do re-enroll in the coaching program, because once a person gets a taste of it, it's like, oh my gosh, like one of my clients, she was like, please don't leave me alone after this. Like, I want to re-enroll. I'm like, of course. I mean, like, this is absolutely fine. But I also empower my clients to start learning to coach themselves so that they are not dependent on a coach forever. I mean, financially, it would be amazing that they just re-enroll, right? But I'm the kind of person, I want to make sure that I empower my clients to learn to coach themselves. And that way, they can actually move on with the things that they've learned and eventually be able to go on their own and be able to, help others in their lives. And that doesn't mean they will never receive coaching, but it's good for people to learn how to coach themselves as well.
That's true. Yeah, I do see some things, within the coaching world about coaches having coaches, and, it being kind of an ongoing, hopefully not pyramid, but like cycle of need. And I mean, I definitely have hired people to help me with different things at different times, but it does seem like at some point you need to focus on your stuff and your clients and your business.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
I would like to think there comes a point.
Else, you know what I mean?
Yeah. For the next level, or
exactly. Like
expanding
you
to a
can
new
have a
area.
publicity coach, or you can have, I don't know, a health coach, or you can have something. Like right now I have a physical, like a personal trainer. So my exercise coach, let's say, or my health coach. And I love it because even though I've been healthy all my life, like I'm the kind of person, I've never had McDonald's in my life, ever.
That's
That's
impressive.
a big thing. That is a big thing. And I mean, I've been in the US since I was a 17-year-old, and we have McDonald's in Istanbul, Turkey too. So it's just something that I never craved. I just don't like the smell of fried things. So doesn't mean I've never had French fries. I have, but it's not calling my name. So, but the thing is, I know that I need a coach to really push me, to challenge me to get to that next level. Like I want to be able to do pull-ups in the gym. I want to be able to do push-ups better. I want to be able to, do things like I want to get a 6-pack, because I want, like, why the heck not, right? And even she was joking with me, my personal trainer. She was like, but Yasemin, nobody's going to get to see your, 6-pack. You're not going to like wear a bikini. I'm like, girl, I'm going to know it's there, right? Like, it's not about flaunting it and showing it to the world. It's about feeling it. It's about having it and saying, you know what? I feel vibrant. I feel energetic. I feel amazing. So, yeah.
I totally used to talk to my trainer, who I don't have a trainer right now, but I have had periods where I hired one, especially after I had knee surgery, and I loved the PT, the physical therapy, so much. I didn't want to leave, and finally my physical therapist was like, just go get a trainer at the gym, Because I was like, I feel stronger. I'm doing like, this is better than I felt in ages. And I did. And I used to tell her I wanted the Gwen Stefani abs, which, you know, is pretty close to a six pack, but I never managed it. But hey, have you tried those pull-up machines that kind of counterbalance your weight and help you?
No, I haven't. I've been kind of just trying, you know, to do the ones at the gym. Like pull-ups are the hardest thing for me, but I'm just like, I'm working on my mindset. I'm like, I got this. I got this. So I started doing like, you know, I started with only 1, 2. Now I'm up to almost 5, you know?
Yeah.
So getting there.
Well, at my gym, not to go too off track, but we have this machine where basically you kneel on a platform and you can say how much weight is counterbalanced so that it, you know, so I'm not lifting my entire full body weight, but I can get to 10 reps. And then the next time I change the weight a little so that I'm lifting more of my own weight.
I'm going to see if they have it. I'm sure they do.
Because it feels good to actually get through a whole set and see how, like, how much weight can I do and still get to 10 with the right form. And then next time I change the weight and try to keep the form exactly the same. But I haven't done that for a while myself. I'm looking at my arms thinking I should probably go back to the gym. You're inspiring me to go back to the gym.
Do it, Jen. Do it. You got this.
But so speaking of helping people to achieve their version of high performance in different parts of their lives, I know that you have a live event coming up. I'm looking at all my notes here, so I'm glad.
Oh, yeah.
And people make fun of me for taking notes on my own podcast. But the thing is, like, part of high performance for me with my podcast is setting up workflows so that I record, put it in a Dropbox, and then everything happens for me.
Yes.
So I do like to take notes because I feel like then I have the information about what we talked about immediately. And half the time I feel like I get coached on my own calls here.
Aw, I love that.
So that I don't necessarily touch the podcast again once it's happened. And it took me a while to get there, but that has made this having 2 podcasts going at once possible for me now and
That's
to do
perfect.
work.
Yeah.
So like workflow is something.
I'm going to definitely take that into consideration with my podcast, right? Because it does take a lot to go back and to listen and write the show notes. So
that's
perfect.
Edit. At first I was editing too, which because
I never do. We just add the beginning and the end. That's it.
Yeah. I don't do any of it anymore.
Leave it the way it is.
Yeah. Live is good.
Yeah.
Plus, especially now that I do video as well, it would look funny to have these cuts in to cut out ums or ahs or different things. So unless something massive happens, like audio failure or, I don't know, the doorbell rings and my dogs bark a bunch, maybe I might cut that out. But other than that, so tell me some about the live event. What's happening?
So
How do people find out more? Yeah,
absolutely. So, you have the link, correct?
I believe I do. I'll have to check with my VA. Again, the way workflow.
So you're gonna have the link in the show notes, correct?
Yes, we will definitely put the link in the show notes.
Absolutely. So the event is called Amplify: Your Life, Your Business, Your Impact. You know, for me, my entire journey, not even as an entrepreneur, but way before then, it's been about amplifying. It's been about getting to that next level. Not because I wasn't grateful with what I had, but I just knew that I had the potential to become a better version of myself. So this event is mainly for entrepreneurs and visionaries, but honestly speaking, it is for anyone who is into personal growth, personal development, high performance. So I will be the main trainer, but we also have an amazing lineup of awesome people. And so once they click on that event page, they'll be able to see the, the entire list of people who are going to be there, who are going to be speaking at the event. It's taking place in San Diego, California on April 20th and 21st. I am so pumped about this, Jen. It's unbelievable because I've been wanting to do a live event ever since I became an entrepreneur. And it's funny because I became an entrepreneur in 2012, officially started August 2012 with my company, even though I started, 2011, started getting certified in different things. Like I got a leadership certification at Harvard. I got a different life coaching certification. I'm from the academia, right? So I used to be a professor. So I believe in certifications and, getting the education. and then going out there and doing what you have to do. And so by the end of, so when 2013 kicked in, I got pregnant. So I was really thinking of hosting my first live event, at least here in Raleigh, North Carolina. But then I got pregnant, I got really sick. And so then I had the baby. So like so many things came up, and now she's old enough to be alone, I mean, not alone, but with daddy. And I'll be able to host my first event. I'm just super pumped because I'm a people person. I cannot wait to be, in the same room with like-minded people. So, yeah.
So why San Diego?
Why San Diego? So I'm being very strategic about, well, first of all, I wanted to do them in big cities. So this is going to be a tour. So Amplify Tour. This is the first destination. I am not really announcing the other destinations yet or when they're going to happen, because we're just going to focus one event at a time.
Scottsdale's nice, and that's close
yeah.
to me. Yeah. I'll just throw that out
and
there.
And the reason I'm going to do it in San Diego is because I go there a lot for my own events, right? So I go to High Performance Academy myself. I'll be there for actually another event in April. And I like to batch my work. So I'm like, you know what? Let's batch live events too, because why not? So I'll be attending a live event myself, and then I'll be running my own live event right after.
That would be nice, and kind of keep all the energy. Yeah. I wonder if some people will go to both. Actually, for some reason, I had thought your live event was when I was going to be out of the country, but I'm actually back in the country by then.
So maybe you might make it.
Ooh, yeah, because awesome. I'm actually planning on running my first live event in October. Okay. Very small, though. Very small, and in Sedona, with Lisa Carpenter and Lisa Sharp from my other podcast.
Yes.
So
the retreat that you guys were talking about, correct?
Yeah. So it's going to be a retreat, not like a big speaking event like this, but I do feel like I need to go and learn more. And I don't go to enough events myself. And part of it is having special needs kids. It's hard to leave very often.
Yes, absolutely.
But places like San Diego are pretty fun. Legoland's not that far away, so.
That's true. Even Disney is not super far. I mean, an hour or so. Yeah. And the cool thing about this event is it's not, like there's a lot of events, like you could go to an event that's just about, let's say, live streaming, another event just about funnels, another event that's all about marketing, a lot of business oriented events out there, which is great. Absolutely awesome. I mean, I go to a ton of events myself, but the cool thing about this event is it's a hybrid of high performance and business strategy. So I'll be the main person teaching high performance. A few other people will touch upon like self-love and, how to have confidence and, how to manifest your awesomeness and stuff like that. But most of my speakers are going and diving into business strategy. So it's a really cool blend. And I'm going to also bring in my musical theater background into the play, because I used to, for about 7-8 years when I was, middle school, high school, early college years, I've performed in musical theater. So I have that fun background, and I plan to, definitely infuse that into the event, because I just want to make it a very interactive, very fun, lighthearted, creative event. So it's not going to be the corporate buttoned up event, but just a really cool event with lots of entrepreneurs.
That sounds fun.
Yay.
I stage managed and did lights and soundboards in college for the theater. I never got on stage, but I loved being involved with the theater, being around it. It was really fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I'm thinking more and more. You might see me there. So if anyone wants to hang out with me too, I think I might come to this event. I'm going to check my calendar. Yeah. So that sounds really exciting. We'll put the link in so people can find it. And
we also have we have an early bird special until, I don't know when this is airing exactly, but March 27th. It's my birthday. So I decided the early bird was going to actually end March 15th, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to extend it till my birthday, so I remember exactly when it ends. And that gives people a lot of time. I mean, that way they can sign up. Right now, the early bird is $297 for general admission. We do have a very small group of VIP. So the VIP tickets are going to sell out for sure, because I want to make it very intimate. The VIP is $997, but it includes some really awesome stuff that I have never seen being done in other events. So we're going to have, well, first of all, we're going to have luncheon on both days. So I'm making sure that my VIPs are well fed. And on day 2 morning, we're going to have a morning yoga and meditation session. So it's going to be really, because high performance includes mindfulness. It is actually a huge, huge aspect of high performance. It's not about like, a lot of people say like hustle till you like literally work yourself into the ground, screw sleep, right? People say that. Like I've heard people say screw sleep, right? And they'll drop the F-bomb. And I'm like, seriously? Like, I guess they've never read The Sleep Revolution by Ariana Huffington, because you can't perform if you haven't slept. You just cannot perform at those optimum levels if you haven't gotten your rest. And
I feel like that was so fetishized in the 80s, like 80s, 90s.
Yes.
Corporate world was very about like the 100-hour work week or something, people. And so many studies have shown, like I just saw a beautiful article that I loved. And I think it was Denmark maybe, where they were implementing a 6-hour work week because they did all these time and motion studies and saw that people who stayed at work for 8 hours actually got no more and sometimes even less done than people who only stayed for 6 hours, but were more focused and didn't take as many breaks, didn't have to stop and do so many different things and leave and come back.
So work, right? Even school hours, like for kids having to go to school. I don't know. I just, I'm not homeschooling my kids, but I love the homeschooling model. Just the fact that the kids are at school all of that time doesn't mean they're productive all of that time.
Well, I think some of it, here's my frustration with school, is it doesn't fit the work week for parents. There's so many, like my kids' school they have half days every Friday. It's teacher preparation time, which I'm like, whose work does that fit? So it doesn't, like, and getting out at 3:15 doesn't fit parents who work 9 to 5 and dropping them, so it's hard to work around that. And then it also doesn't necessarily take in the kids' peak time for mental acuity and focus either. So I'm like, what is this model based on? It's just such an old model, and I think it's really outdated, really.
It is. Yeah. So it's going to include those fun things. And plus with the VIPs, we're also going to be like all the speakers and myself, we will be in the room. We will be taking questions. We'll be mingling with them, networking. And we're also going to have a photo shoot for the VIPs. So we're going to have, because it's going to be in a beautiful location. And I just wanted to make sure that they have some headshots, they have some group shots, and that they can use for their own websites or for their own branding.
That sounds nice too, actually, because as you're saying that, I've been plotting a new website with Laura Husson, and we haven't gotten it there because I want to have an author platform and stuff too for the book that I'm working on. And my last photos that I liked were from 2 years ago. So I feel like my profile picture, even though my face, well, maybe it's getting a little more lined, but it hasn't changed that much. But I was like, when people see this and my profile shot has it to here, it's like, oh, obviously that's a 2-year-old shot. Yeah. I should probably get something else someday.
Get a photo shoot, I would say every year, once a year. And that way you have different outfits, different setting,
I did, but my next one, so Jeanette LeBlanc, my friend here in Arizona, did the ones that I use everywhere. And then I did one with Timothy Jane Graham, who I loved, and it was super fun. It was very theatrical. She had a makeup artist.
Nice.
We went around Pasadena, which is where my family's from, my mother's parents. And we had some beautiful places, but it ended up being so theatrical that, and then it was, I don't wear, like, this is me with makeup on right now. So it's basically some powder and mascara. So having a full face of makeup, it didn't feel it wasn't me. Yeah. So I really wanted to give it a go, having a professional person to it. And just because we even talked, and she was like, just give me, artistic freedom and let me see what I can make of you. And I was like, yeah, sure. It was really fun. You know what else was fun? They kind of had a crew with like those light things and stuff as we went around Pasadena, and people totally thought I was someone famous. I could tell as we were like posing and stuff. But so it was fun. But I used them here and there a little, but they just were so like Hollywood. Which
they didn't represent your brand. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty down to earth and pretty yeah. So I still have them and I use them now and then for little things. But for the
Yeah.
most part, I felt like as far as representing me, I need something that's just a little more desert girl. I live in Arizona. I almost never dress up. Like this necklace is made out of lava rocks.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, got it on Etsy. But
Nice.
yeah, so yeah, I haven't gone for another expensive one since then because I've kind of been like, I don't know. I need something that, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like selfies are more like how I really am. Though.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah. But if I come, I'm considering all this. I'm going to go have to talk to the husband about the dates and the kids and stuff. But yeah,
Yay.
that
Yeah, it's a
sounds really
Thursday and
fun.
Friday. A lot of people are like, why are you doing a Thursday and a Friday? I'm like, because entrepreneurs can take off any day. And I want to make sure that they actually take the weekend off for family and for fun. So, I mean,
okay, so there's nothing over the weekend? It's just Thursday, Friday?
It's Thursday and Friday. Yeah.
Okay, so people arriving Wednesday, have all day Thursday, all day Friday?
It is an all day Thursday and Friday event.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. That
Yeah.
sounds great. And then we could go to Legoland or Disneyland on the weekend with the kids if they come. Okay. So quick before we wrap up, I also want to talk about your podcast, the Thriving Entrepreneur Podcast.
Yes, which we need to get you on very soon.
Yes, I would love to come on your podcast.
Yeah.
You've had some fantastic people on there.
Yes, I have. I have really been blessed to chat with some amazing entrepreneurs. I mean, I just feel super blessed. I love meeting people. So this is a great way to have a conversation. I mean, I was already doing that. Like, oh, let's connect. Like you connect with someone, you love the vibe and you're like, let's have a Zoom date or let's have a Skype date. And then I would be like, that's really where the whole podcasting idea began. I was like, I would love to have other people join these conversations. Like I'd love for others to hear what we're talking about. So that's really how it began. And of course, a few people told me, they were like, you have a really nice voice. You'd make you'd have a great podcast. I'm like, that's a great reason to have a podcast. Just kidding, of course.
But I totally agree. My favorite thing about podcasting is that I get to connect with so many people because I don't know how you feel in North Carolina, but I'm a little isolated in rural Arizona.
I mean, honestly, I don't know any. We do have, I'm sure, lots of entrepreneurs here. I don't really know anyone here. I had one friend who was a certified high performance coach, but now she moved to Colorado. So other than that, I don't locally know anyone. So all of my entrepreneur besties and entrepreneur buddies like yourself are somewhere else,
scattered around the world, right?
Yeah. Actually, when I tell my non-entrepreneur friends, they're like, oh, so you have lots of friends who are like actually your Facebook friends. You just met them online. I'm like, yes, but we do have a really good relationship. They're like, like they just don't get it,
But see, for me, that's another reason I do want to start going to more events. Like this trip to the UK I'm about to take. I booked an extra flight to go to Ireland so I could meet Neve Arthur, who I'm starting some new exciting things with. We've been sort of informally, we've been talking every week for over a year now. We Zoom once a week. We just became like buddies who did that. And then we had the same thing. I was like, you know what? These conversations are really interesting. We discovered we both always wanted to be authors. We both are voracious readers. So we started sharing our reading lists and like doing book reviews together and stuff. And now we're putting together I think we're going to call it business buddies because that's what we are for each other. And we are here to make friends, as opposed to those people who are like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm just here to make money. Obviously we're counter to that.
The only way they connect is so they can pitch their stuff to you. And it's like, oh, please. Like, I mean, that's something if I'm interested down the line, yes, but not on a first chat,
Yeah. Well, and sometimes just having friends to talk things through that you aren't paying and who aren't paying you get a very different, I mean, there's definitely something to that coaching relationship too, but this is more like peer-to-peer, like I call it Goonies versus gurus, we're Goonies. We hang out together and we try to solve problems for each other and with each other. And that I feel like, sometimes getting a little group of people together, you get the best of everyone and it's more than the sum of the parts kind of idea. So yeah, we're starting some offshoots from that, including a podcast, of course, because why wouldn't I want 3 podcasts, right?
Exactly. I mean, like, why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Especially now that I've gotten these first 2, the workflow down so that it takes me very little time. So really, I feel like a lot of conversations are conversations I would have wanted to have anyways. I can't believe you and I have never actually sat down and talked before because I think of you as a friend.
I do too.
And my
Yeah.
friends do kind of make my home friend, like I have a book club and I write for the arts magazine here and stuff. So I do have
Nice.
a little group of friends, but they don't really understand what I do online. Really, until
Mhm.
I got a HuffPo blog and got in a few magazines, they really thought I just played on social media all day, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of awesome friends here in town. They're just not, they don't get what I do. They just understand that, okay, she has a business, she does some things online, and she just makes lots of videos and motivates people, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. That's good to know. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
that's,
But
no.
it makes me want to connect in person more. So
Yes.
I'm really excited about your event and
Thank
about my event too, if I can. I'm nervous though, because I've never done one before. So I do want to
Oh,
see what other people
you're gonna
do.
rock it. I mean, look, the way I look at it is this, and the reason I decided to actually have an event was, you know, I've always wanted one, but something was somehow holding me back.
Hmm.
And one question that I ask my clients is, if you were to 10x your courage, what would you start doing? What would you stop doing? So after one of the sessions, you know, after the current session with my group coaching clients, I just sat here at my desk and I was looking at the, you know, my notes and everything. And then I just paused and I just closed my eyes and I was like, if I were to 10x my courage, what would I do? Immediately, like without a split second, I said live events. I would do live events. And that's
Hmm.
why it's like this happened, um, I would say right at the beginning of January. So that's why, like, I literally, like, I went and got my copywriter, hired my sales page person. You know, I was like, let's do this. We need to, you know, I just had this epiphany, you know, we have to do this. So, what was holding me back before was, well, what if no one shows up? What if none of the tickets get sold? And, you know, I overcame that fear by saying to myself, even if one person showed up, I would still perform to my utmost ability. Like the show will go on the way it would go on, even if we have one or 100 people like we're shooting for. So, but
Hmm.
I have faith that we're going to have a sold out event. So
I
I'm
think so
super
too.
excited.
You have some great people. I saw the sales page in the lineup and I was like, that looks really, really fun.
We have
But you know
some,
what? From
yeah.
my indie days of playing dive bars in small towns like Missoula, Montana, I
Uh-huh.
remember bands that I've seen who should have had a lot of people there and didn't, but still performed like they were
Oh
in a
yeah.
stadium. I had so much respect for those bands. And I always wanted to be that way because I feel like some of those smaller intimate gatherings are where you really can connect with someone, and if you
Mhm.
really put on a full-on performance, that person remembers. You know, it's like that story about the Sex Pistols, that show that 6 people came to and all 6 started bands like the Buzzcocks. You know, everyone
Yeah,
in that room went on and started the punk movement. That was like the start of an entire movement. Not to
that's
get too
amazing. Yeah,
off track there, but you know, if you had, you know, 50 people come instead of 100, what if all 50 of those people were able to 10x their courage thanks to
exactly.
you, and then go out
Exactly.
and, you know, make their movements in the world. Yeah.
Exactly. I believe
So
in that.
we're a little long. I usually do a half hour. We're a little over our time, but we talked about so many fantastic things. I really want to meet you in person myself and hang out. So
Yay,
hopefully we can
me
make that
too.
happen. And anyone listening who wants to come, we're gonna bump this a little higher into the queue, since this you have your early bird special ending March 27th. So we'll definitely get this out before that so people can take advantage of the early bird special. So thank
Yay.
you so much, Yasmin. It's been great
Thank
talking to
you.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, and if anyone wants to find out more, we will put links to her website as well as the event and your social media, I think,
And the podcast.
and the podcast, of course. Yes, and I'll go see if I can get myself booked in on your podcast too. So,
Yay.
thank you, Yasmin. Hopefully, I'll see you in April.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.